Maya adjusted the strap of her backpack nervously as she stood outside the entrance of Westbrook High, the sprawling brick building looming above her like a giant fortress. The scent of freshly cut grass mixed with the faint aroma of cafeteria, food drifting through the spring air. It was her first day at a new school, again, after moving to this quiet suburban town to live with her aunt. The weight of unfamiliar faces and unknown routines pressed down on her chest. Inside the bustling hallway, students laughed and chatted, weaving through the crowd with practiced ease. Maya kept her head down, clutching the crumpled schedule in her hand. She didn't want attention. She just wanted to survive these first few days unnoticed. But fate had other plans. As she passed by the classroom doors, a voice called out softly, but firmly. "You're Maya, right? The new student?" She turned, heart skipping. Standing by the doorway was Mr. Collins, the literature teacher she'd heard about from the front office. Mid-30s, neat dark hair, glasses perched on his nose, and an expression that was friendly, almost too friendly. His eyes held a spark that made her uncomfortable, as if he was studying her, weighing her like a secret puzzle. "Yes, Maya," said cautiously. "That's me." "Well, welcome to Westbrook High," he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "If you ever need help with classes or anything else, my door's always open." Maya nodded and hurried past, feeling a strange chill behind her. That evening, the town held its annual community fair, a vibrant mix of food stalls, games, and local pride. Maya's aunt had insisted she come along, hoping the change of scenery would ease her nerves. As they wandered through the crowds, Maya's eyes caught a familiar sight. A police officer kneeling beside a large German shepherd, showing children how the dog could sniff out dangers and follow commands. The officer noticed Maya watching and smiled warmly. "Hey there, I'm Officer Grant, and this is Duke," he said, patting the strong, alert dog. Duke's ears perked up as he glanced at Maya, his intelligent eyes seeming to understand her unease. Maya hesitated but found herself stepping closer. Duke wagged his tail gently, letting her reach out and scratch behind his ears. The simple warmth of the dog's fur under her fingers was comforting, a moment of calm in a whirlwind of uncertainty. "You know," Officer Grant said quietly, "sometimes a good dog can see things people miss. He's retired now, but still sharp. If you ever feel unsafe or just want to talk, you can find me around town." Maya smiled faintly, grateful for the kindness. For the first time that day, she felt a tiny spark of hope. Back at school the next day, the hum of conversation filled the air as students settled into their routines. Maya found her classes, navigating hallways and lockers with the awkwardness of someone new. But she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. Sure enough, during literature class, Mr. Collins singled her out again, this time in front of the whole room. "Maya, why don't you read the next passage for us?" he suggested. His gaze fixed a little too intently on her. Flushing with nervousness, Maya stood and began reading aloud. His praise afterward was generous and public, causing a few students to glance her way with mixed expressions. Admiration, envy, maybe suspicion. After class, Mr. Collins approached her. "You have a real talent," he said quietly. "I think you could do great things if you work closely with me. Would you like to stay after school tomorrow for some extra help?" Maya swallowed hard. The invitation sounded flattering, but also unsettling. She looked around, unsure if anyone was watching. "I'll think about it," she said carefully. As she walked away, her thoughts tangled. Was she just overreacting? Was Mr. Collins truly kind and supportive? Or was there something beneath the surface she couldn't yet see? Later that afternoon, Maya's aunt noticed her quietness. "How was school?" she asked, concern softening her voice. "Fine," Maya replied, not wanting to cause worry. But the knot in her stomach tightened. That night as she lay awake, her mind replayed every glance, every word from Mr. Collins. Somewhere in the back of her mind, the memory of Duke's steady, watchful eyes from the fair gave her a sliver of courage. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone. The next morning, Maya walked into Westbrook High feeling the weight of yesterday's invitation lingering in her mind. The hallways buzzed with the usual noise, lockers slamming, students shouting, greetings and the faint echo of footsteps down the tiled corridors. But for Maya, everything seemed sharper, more tense, as if a hidden thread tied her to something she couldn't quite name. Mr. Collins was waiting at the door of the literature classroom, his eyes lighting up when he saw her. "Good morning. Maya, glad you made it." His smile was warm, almost reassuring. Maya hesitated but nodded. She had decided to accept his offer for extra help. After all, she needed to improve her grades if she wanted to fit in here, and maybe this mentorship could be a chance to make a friend. The classroom emptied as the final bell rang, leaving only Maya and Mr. Collins. The late afternoon light slanted through the windows, casting long shadows on the wooden floor. Mr. Collins handed her a thick copy of To Kill a Mockingbird and began discussing the themes with enthusiasm. At first, Maya relaxed, enjoying the conversation about justice and morality. But soon, his tone shifted subtly. He began asking personal questions about her family, her life before moving, her fears and dreams. His gaze was intense, uncomfortably so. "Why did you really move here, Maya? It's not easy to start over." His voice lowered to a whisper, and Maya felt a cold shiver crawl down her spine. She gave a vague answer, trying to keep the conversation safe. But Mr. Collins persisted, stepping closer than necessary. "You don't have to be afraid, I'm here to help." The phrase echoed ominously in her mind. That evening, Maya found herself pacing the small living room of her aunt's house. The sun had set hours ago, but sleep refused to come. Her thoughts swirled with doubt and unease. Was she reading too much into Mr. Collins' kindness, or was something wrong? Her aunt noticed the worry etched on her niece's face. You can tell me anything, Maya," she said softly. Reaching out to touch her hand, Maya shook her head. "It's probably nothing," she murmured. Meanwhile, back at school, whispers began to spread. Some students noticed how Mr. Collins singled Maya out, giving her extra attention. Rumors sparked like dry leaves. Teacher's favorite. "Lucky Maya," some said with envy, others with suspicion. Maya felt the weight of those glances every day, a mixture of pity and curiosity. She wished she could disappear. One afternoon, while walking through the school courtyard, Maya spotted Officer Grant speaking with a group of students. Seeing her, he waved her over. "Hey Maya, how's school treating you?" he asked, his voice kind but serious. She shrugged. "It's okay." He noticed her hesitation. "You know, Duke and I are always around if you need someone to talk to. Sometimes schools can be tough places, but you're not alone." Maya glanced at Duke, who wagged his tail and nuzzled her hand. The dog's calm presence was a balm to her nerves. That week, Mr. Collins' invitations multiplied. He asked Maya to join him for extra reading sessions, school projects, even suggested private tutoring on weekends. Each time his words sounded friendly, almost encouraging. But Maya's gut told her to stay cautious. One afternoon during class, Mr. Collins made a comment that unsettled her deeply. "You're special, Maya. I see potential others miss. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." His eyes lingered longer than necessary, and Maya's cheeks burned with discomfort. She glanced around. Some classmates were watching, but no one intervened. Feeling trapped between politeness and fear, Maya began to dread her next encounter with him. Yet, she felt powerless to refuse. Later that day, after school, Maya walked home slowly, her thoughts heavy. She spotted Officer Grant near the school gates, walking Duke on his leash. "Hey," she called softly. He smiled. "Need a break from the books?" She nodded. "I don't know if I can keep up with all this." "Attention. It's too much." Officer Grant listened carefully. "Sometimes people can cross lines without realizing it, or sometimes on purpose. Trust your instincts, Maya. If something feels wrong, it probably is." Maya swallowed hard. "But what if no one believes me? That's why Duke and I are here. You're not alone." He gave her a reassuring pat on the shoulder. As Maya watched Duke trot ahead, tail wagging, she felt a flicker of courage ignite inside her. Maybe, just maybe she could find a way out of this, with help. The following week passed in a haze of tension for Maya. Each day, the uneasy feeling she had about Mr. Collins grew stronger, like a shadow lurking just out of sight. Though he continued to praise her in class and invite her to stay late, his Compliments began to feel less like encouragement and more like control. One afternoon, after everyone else had left, Maya found herself alone in the classroom with Mr. Collins again. The late sun cast golden beams across the desks, but the warmth didn't reach her skin. She clutched her books tightly, heart pounding. "I'm glad you agreed to stay after school," Mr. Collins said, his voice calm but with an edge Maya couldn't ignore. "It's important for you to realize your potential." He stepped closer, and Maya instinctively took a small step back, her instincts screaming. Suddenly the atmosphere shifted. Mr. Collins's friendly tone gave way to something colder, more demanding. "You don't have to be afraid here. I just want to help you succeed in school and beyond." Maya swallowed hard, feeling the pressure of his gaze. She wanted to say no, to leave, but fear and confusion held her still. "Maybe you should stay a little longer tomorrow," he added, his voice almost a whisper. "Just you and me." The words hung in the air, heavy and threatening. Later that evening, Maya confided in Officer Grant as they sat by the school's courtyard, Duke resting his head on her lap. The dog's steady breathing and warm fur gave her a strange sense of safety. "Something's wrong with Mr. Collins," she said quietly. He's not just a teacher. He's trying to get too close. I don't know what to do." Officer Grant nodded slowly, his face grave. "You're smart for coming. To me, that's the first step. You're not alone in this." Maya looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. "But what if no one believes me? What if he denies everything?" "That's why we need to be careful and gather proof," Grant said firmly. "And Duke, well, he's got a nose for danger. He'll help us watch." For the next few days, Maya tried to avoid Mr. Collins as much as possible, but he always found ways to corner her. In the hallways, during lunch, even offering to walk her home. Each time his charm was a mask for something darker beneath. At school, rumors whispered through the halls, some accusing Maya of seeking attention, others warning her to be careful. The loneliness pressed in, but Maya clung to Officer Grant's words and Duke's steady presence. One afternoon, Maya found a message on her phone. It was anonymous but chilling. "You're not the first, and you won't be the last. Stay strong." Her hands trembled as she showed it to Officer Grant, who frowned deeply. "This means others have been hurt too," he said quietly. "We need to act, but carefully." That night, Maya barely slept. Her mind replayed every encounter with Mr. Collins, his smiles that didn't reach his eyes, his sudden changes in tone, the way he seemed to know exactly what to say to unsettle her. She wished she could run away, but deep down she knew she had to stand her ground. The next day, with renewed determination, Maya approached Officer Grant before school. "I want to help stop him," she said firmly. "Whatever it takes." Grant nodded, respect shining in his eyes. "Good. We'll watch together. And if things get worse, we'll be ready." As Maya walked to class, she glanced at the door where Mr. Collins waited, smiling that same unsettling smile. But this time she held her head high, no longer the scared new girl, a girl who had found a guardian in a loyal dog and a dedicated officer, ready to face the darkness ahead. The following week, tension hung thick over Westbrook High. Like a low fog, Maya moved through the corridors with a new awareness, alert for anything unusual. Her eyes flicked constantly toward Mr. Collins, who had not given up on his relentless pursuit, but something had shifted. She no longer felt alone or powerless. "Officer," Grant and Duke had become her silent guardians. Every day after school, she met with them in the courtyard or by the parking lot, places where she felt safer. Duke's calm presence was a balm to her nerves. The dog seemed to understand her fears, resting his head gently on her lap or nudging her hand when she hesitated. One afternoon, the school organized a community safety event. Families gathered on the grassy field behind the gym, where booths displayed fire trucks, police equipment, and K9 demonstrations. Officer Grant was there with Duke, showing how the dog could detect hidden threats, sniffing out items that the naked eye missed. Maya wandered nearby, watching from a distance. The warmth of the sun and the sound of children laughing momentarily chased away her worries. But then Duke's behavior changed. The dog suddenly stiffened, ears pricking sharply, eyes locked on a figure moving near the edge of the crowd, Mr. Collins. Without warning, Duke pulled on his leash, growling low and fierce. Officer Grant's hand tightened on the leash, but Duke's alert was unmistakable. Duke sensing something. Officer Grant said quietly, eyes narrowing, "Stay close, Maya." Mr. Collins smiled and approached the demonstration, waving at the crowd as if nothing was wrong, but Duke's gaze didn't waver. The dog's instincts told a story Maya and Officer Grant were only beginning to understand. Later that evening, Maya sat on her bed, turning over the day's strange encounter. The message she had received weeks ago echoed in her mind. "You're not the first and you won't be the last." She pulled out her phone and reread the text. Someone was trying to warn her, but who? And how many others had suffered? Suddenly, her phone buzzed with a new message. This time a photo appeared, a hidden camera taped discreetly inside one of the classrooms, angled perfectly to capture anyone who stayed late after school. Maya's breath caught. That had to be Mr. Collins's doing. She grabbed her jacket and rushed to Officer Grant's house, where he was working late on paperwork. Bursting through the door, she showed him the photo. "This is serious," he said, his voice grim. "If there are cameras, he's been watching you and maybe others. We need to find those cameras and gather evidence." With Duke by their side, they planned a quiet inspection of the school that night. Under the cover of darkness, Officer Grant, Maya, and Duke returned to Westbrook High. The hallways were silent, the fluorescent lights dimmed to night mode. Maya's heart pounded as they moved carefully from classroom to classroom. Duke led the way, sniffing the air, alert to every sound. After several tense minutes, the dog stopped near the literature classroom. There, tucked behind a loose panel above the whiteboard, was a small hidden camera, its red light faint but unmistakable. Officer Grant carefully removed it and switched it off. "Looks like he's been recording," Grant muttered. "We need to check the school's security footage and alert the principal first thing in the morning." Maya felt a mix of fear and relief. The trap was real, but now it was exposed. As they left the school, Duke barked once, a sharp, commanding sound. It was as if he knew the danger wasn't over yet, but that they had taken the first, crucial step toward safety. The next morning, the school was buzzing with an unusual energy. News had spread quickly after Officer Grant had discreetly informed the principal about the hidden camera found in the literature classroom. Rumors swirled like wildfire, whispers of spying, betrayal, and a teacher gone too far. Maya walked through the halls with her head held high, though her nerves buzzed beneath the surface. She was no longer the scared new girl. She was a survivor, backed by the unwavering presence of Officer Grant and Duke. The principal, Mr. Henderson, called Maya into his office first thing. His expression was serious but supportive. "Maya, you've done a brave thing coming forward," he said firmly. "We're taking this matter very seriously. The camera is evidence of a breach of trust and privacy. We'll be conducting a full investigation." Maya nodded, relief washing over her like a cool wave. But deep down, she knew the hardest part was yet to come. Later that day, the school administration confronted Mr. Collins. He denied everything at first, his charming smile slipping into a mask of feigned confusion. "I don't know what you're talking about," he insisted, voice calm but strained. "I have always had the students' best interests at heart." But the evidence was overwhelming. The hidden camera, plus a growing list of students who came forward with uneasy stories, painted a different picture. Some admitted to feeling uncomfortable around him, but none had dared speak until now. Meanwhile, Maya stayed close to Officer Grant and Duke, their support a shield against the creeping fear that Mr. Collins might retaliate. One afternoon, as Maya left school, she noticed a shadow following her down the sidewalk. Her pulse quickened. She turned a corner and quickened her pace, but the figure matched her steps. Suddenly, the shadow stepped forward. It was Mr. Collins. "Why are you doing this, Maya?" he asked quietly, eyes dark. "You're ruining my career." Maya's voice trembled, but she stood her ground. "Because you were wrong, and I'm not afraid anymore." Mr. Collins sneered, but before he could say more, a sharp bark cut through the air. Duke appeared, rushing toward them with fierce determination. Officer Grant came running, placing himself between Maya and Mr. Collins. "Back off," he warned. Mr. Collins glared, then retreated, disappearing into the crowd. Maya exhaled deeply, the tension slowly leaving her body. She realized then just how much danger she had been in, and how important it was to have allies. Over the next days, the school worked to rebuild trust. Counseling was offered to students, and strict policies were put in place to protect everyone's safety and privacy. Maya found herself speaking at an assembly about courage and standing up to wrongdoing. Her voice was steady as she shared her story, hoping it would inspire others to speak out if they ever felt trapped. Sometimes, the hardest thing is to say no, she told her classmates, but no one should ever feel alone when facing fear. As the school year progressed, Maya's world began to brighten. She made new friends, joined clubs, and even started a student group advocating for safe spaces. And through it all, Duke remained by her side, a quiet reminder that sometimes help comes in the form of a loyal dog and a steady hand. The trap had been set, but it was also broken. And Maya's courage had shown everyone that even in the darkest moments there is light to be found. With the immediate danger behind her, Maya began the slow process of healing. The school had become a safer place, but the scars left by Mr. Collins's betrayal lingered, not only on her but on the entire student body. Yet amid the healing there was a growing sense of hope and resilience. The student support group Maya had helped start quickly gained momentum. Meeting once a week in the school library, it became a sanctuary for students to share their stories and support one another. Maya often sat quietly, listening as others spoke about their fears and struggles. In return, she shared her journey, reminding them that courage was not the absence of fear, but the strength to move forward despite it. One afternoon, as the group met, Officer Grant dropped by with Duke. The dog instantly became a beloved member of the group, his gentle presence comforting those who were still trembling with anxiety. "You've done something amazing, Maya," Officer Grant said quietly after the meeting. "You turned pain into power, and that's rare." Maya smiled, though the weight of the past still tugged at her heart. "I just don't want anyone else to feel like I did." School life gradually returned to a new normal, but Maya noticed a shift in the way students and teachers interacted. Boundaries were clearer, and conversations about respect and safety became part of the everyday dialogue. Maya herself blossomed in this environment. Her grades improved, and she threw herself into creative writing, channeling her emotions into stories that resonated with others. Her essays were heartfelt and raw, reflecting a depth beyond her years. One day, her English teacher read one of Maya's pieces aloud in class, a powerful narrative about overcoming fear and finding one's voice. The room was silent, every student moved by the honesty in her words. Outside of school, Maya's relationship with her aunt deepened. Her aunt, who had been quietly worried throughout the ordeal, became her strongest supporter. They spent evenings cooking together, sharing stories, and planning a future that now seemed filled with possibility rather than fear. Maya also found solace in Duke, who seemed to sense when she was overwhelmed. The dog's comforting presence helped her face difficult days and sleepless nights. As spring approached, the school planned a community event to celebrate resilience and renewal. Maya was asked to speak alongside Officer Grant, sharing her story, with parents, teachers, and students. Standing at the podium with Duke at her side, Maya looked out over the crowd. Her voice was steady and clear. "We all face challenges," she began, "but what defines us is how we respond. With support, courage, and kindness, we can overcome even the darkest moments." The applause was warm and genuine, a testament to the change Maya's bravery had sparked. Later that evening, as the crowd dispersed and the sun dipped below the horizon, Maya felt a deep sense of peace. She knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but with the lessons learned and the people who stood by her, she was ready for whatever came next. Her story was no longer just about fear or danger. It was about hope, healing, and the power of standing up for what is right. And in that power, Maya found her true strength. Despite the progress and healing, Maya knew that the shadow of Mr. Collins still lingered. Though he was no longer teaching at Westbrook High, the wounds left behind were not easily forgotten. The school was safer, but trust, once broken, was slow to rebuild. One afternoon, while Maya was working on a writing assignment in the library, she overheard a quiet conversation between two students. They spoke in hushed tones about someone new, a substitute teacher who had recently joined the school. There was something off about him, they said, something unsettling. Maya's heart tightened. She remembered all too well the feeling of doubt and fear that Mr. Collins had stirred. Was the nightmare beginning again? That evening, Maya shared her concerns with Officer Grant during their regular check-in. Duke rested beside them, alert, as always. "We can't be complacent," Grant said, nodding thoughtfully. "Sometimes predators try to blend in, waiting for a chance to strike again." Determined to protect her friends and the school she had grown to love, Maya volunteered to keep a closer eye on the new teacher, joining the student safety group's efforts to watch for anything suspicious. Over the next few weeks, Maya and her peers observed the substitute discreetly. At first he seemed harmless, quiet and reserved, but small things added up. He lingered too long in empty hallways, asked students personal questions under the guise of tutoring, and often made them feel uneasy. Maya recorded her observations carefully, sharing them with Officer Grant and the school counselors. One afternoon, as Maya was leaving the school, the substitute approached her. His smile was polite, but his eyes held an uncomfortable intensity. "I hear you're quite the leader around here," he said smoothly. "I admire that." Maya forced a smile. "Thanks, I just want everyone to feel safe." He nodded slowly, stepping back. "Of course." But Maya wasn't fooled. That night, as she lay in bed, her mind raced with memories and worries. The past was not so easily left behind. The next day, Officer Grant arranged a meeting with the school principal and counselors to discuss the substitute's behavior. With Maya's notes and observations, they decided to monitor him more closely and speak with him directly. In the meantime, Maya focused on empowering her peers, encouraging openness and vigilance. The student safety group grew stronger, becoming a force for positive change and awareness. One afternoon during a meeting, Maya shared a poem she had written, a reflection on fear and resilience. Her words resonated deeply. "The past may cast its shadow long, but light can break where dark belongs. We stand as one, a steady flame, unbroken strong. We rise again." Her classmates applauded, inspired by her courage and hope. Weeks later, the school confirmed that the substitute teacher had been placed on leave pending investigation. No evidence of wrongdoing had been found yet, but the caution was necessary. Maya felt a mix of relief and vigilance. She knew that safety was a continuous effort, requiring courage, trust, and community. As spring deepened into summer, Maya's confidence blossomed. She continued to write, speak out, and lead by example. Through it all, Duke remained her faithful companion, a symbol of loyalty and protection. Together, they had faced the unthinkable and emerged stronger, and Maya was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing she was never truly alone. The school year was drawing to a close, and Westbrook High was filled with the buzz of final exams, year-end celebrations, and the hopeful excitement of summer break. For Maya, it was a moment to reflect on how much had changed, not only within the school walls but within herself. The scars from the past still lingered, but they no longer defined her. Instead, they had shaped her into someone stronger, someone who refused to be silenced. The student safety group, once a small circle of hesitant voices, had grown into a thriving community of students, teachers, and parents united by a common goal: to create a safe, respectful environment for everyone. Maya stood with Officer Grant and Duke in the auditorium, ready to address the entire school one last time before the year ended. This speech was different. It was a celebration of courage, resilience, and the power of standing together. When Maya stepped up to the microphone, the room fell silent. Her voice was steady and warm. "We have faced difficult times," she began, "and sometimes the hardest battles are fought in silence. But together, we have chosen to speak up, to support one another, and to protect what matters most: our community." She glanced at Duke, who sat faithfully by her side, and continued, "No one should ever feel afraid at school. No one should feel alone, and no one should ever hesitate to ask for help." The applause was loud and heartfelt. Students and teachers alike rose to their feet, a wave of unity washing over the room. After the assembly, Maya found herself surrounded by friends, teachers, and even some who had once been strangers. The smiles and congratulations filled her with hope for the future. That evening, as she walked home with her aunt, Maya felt a peaceful resolve. The journey had been long and difficult, but she had grown into her own strength. Her aunt squeezed her hand gently. "You've changed so much, Maya. You're brave beyond words." Maya smiled softly. "I had to be, for me, for everyone." At home, Maya sat at her desk, pen in hand, working on a new story, one about courage, community, and the unexpected heroes who stand with us in our darkest hours. Outside her window, Duke lay on the porch, the setting sun casting a golden glow over the quiet neighborhood. In that moment, Maya knew that while the past might always be a part of her story, it would never define her, because she had discovered something stronger: the power of truth, the strength of unity, and the courage to face whatever came next. And with those gifts, a new chapter was just beginning.